Hello, my name is Connor Trebeck, and I will be presenting Universal Basic Income. So, first off, it's important to understand what is Universal Basic Income. Universal Basic Income is essentially a form of Social Security in which the government gives its citizens a stipend, whether that be monthly or yearly. And it can come in many forms, depending, as I said, monthly, yearly, and how it interacts with other welfare benefits. So I'll be looking at the three stances: those who don't support its implementation, those who do, and those who only conditionally support it. So for those who don't support universal basic income, the overwhelming factor for majority of these is the cost. And one analyst found that under the assumption of $10,000 a year for each U.S. citizen, the cost would be nearly $3 trillion a year, which is more than 3/4 of the entire U.S. federal budget, which is, as it stands, not a feasible program to implement in the current state. So another analyst looked at this cost after deductions, which is after you eliminate other local, federal, and state benefits. And once you consolidate those benefits, the true cost comes around $1.4 trillion a year. And another reason is people think it will have a negative effect on work. And one analyst believes that it clashes with the two truths in life. That one, not everyone is as equally talented or passionate, and two, that every citizen should contribute to the best of their ability. And he believes that Universal Basic Income program will sort of persuade the citizens to choose up paths that are not economically feasible, as they believe that they can just rely on Universal Basic Income as the form of support for themselves. Next, I'll be looking at those who support its implementation. So first off, people who believe that Universal Basic Income should be a program cite that the rise in automation is going to be a huge factor in the world economy. And a recent Brookings Institute study found that 25% of U.S. jobs, which comes to around 36 million U.S. citizens, are at a high risk for automation. And if automation truly does replace this many jobs, there will be a huge economic backlash in which the government will have to somehow find a way to deal with these unemployed citizens. So next is they cite the decrease in poverty. So Namibia, which is a country in Africa, ran a universal basic income trial where they gave their citizens a stipend of money per month. And they found that the food poverty level, as it started before, was at 76%, and after a year of these programs, that number fell to only 37% of people falling below this food poverty line. And this decrease in poverty is actually not that unfeasible for a majority of these third world countries. A UN advisor found that 66% of third world countries have the ability to implement such programs, and it will be feasible. And this comes out to about bringing 185 million citizens out of poverty, which is a profound number. Next, they cite the benefit to overall health. So Finland is currently doing a universal basic income trial, and the first year findings were released, and it was found that in the aspect of mental health, stress levels, and life satisfaction, all of these went up except for stress levels, which helpfully went down. And Namibia, back to them, they found that 42% of the babies before they started the trial were underweight, and this fell to around 10% in only a year. So next, who conditionally support the implementation of universal basic income would only support it on a few conditions. So first is the interaction with other welfare, in which either it can work with or against other forms of welfare. So if, for example, a citizen is getting $600 of income or help from the government, and the government is giving its citizens $1,000 a year, they would only make up the difference. So they'd only be giving them $400 to get them up to that $1,000 level. And an analyst found that you could implement a program with this rate at 10% of the GDP. And others are just waiting for other trials to be concluded. And Finland is the first in which a first world country is really going to be looking at and studying the Universal Basic Income program on its citizens. So many are looking for them to finish their trial in order to make their decision.